Hyperforce is the future. Are you ready? My name's Leanne Reimel, and this is Expert Corner, where I sit down with Salesforce product experts to deep dive into important updates for you, our Salesforce admins. Today, I'm joined by Samuel Sharaf, Senior Director for Hyperforce. He's going to walk us through what Hyperforce is, why it matters for admins, and what you can do today to help get your org ready for Hyperforce. Please make all purchasing decisions based on currently available technology. Let's go meet Samuel. Hi, Samuel. Thank you so much for joining us here today.
Hi, Leanne. Thank you for hosting me.
Well, we're really excited to talk more about Hyperforce, what it means for admins, how they can get hands-on. But before we dive in, I know you've been with Salesforce for a long time. You've worked on a lot of important projects for admins. Can you tell us a little bit about your Salesforce story?
Sure, happy to. So like I said, I've been a long timer, joined in 2012. And it's interesting because 2012, when I joined, our TMP org used to be called R&D. So I contributed back then in the charter product, as well as our iOS mobile app. And since then, I have taken on a couple of interesting roles. I've led solution engineering, platform enablement for alliances, where I had the opportunity to actually meet some of our great admins, developers, and architects around the world. And in my current role, which is very exciting, my team owns a portfolio of really cool platform products. We have platform cache, async MQ services, as well as one of the very exciting products which my team just released, Hyperforce Assistant. So again, very happy to be here, and thank you for inviting me.
Thank you for being here again. And you've always been working on these great projects for admins, great products for admins, things that are helping them really help their org stay on the cutting edge. So you mentioned Hyperforce Assistant. Before we dive into Hyperforce Assistant, which is how admins get to Hyperforce, can we talk a little bit about Hyperforce? What is it and what role do admins play with Hyperforce?
Yeah, great question, Leanne. And that's one of the questions which has kept up repeatedly. So I'll try to demystify it, simplify it for our audience. So in one liner, Hyperforce is basically Salesforce new next-gen infrastructure technology, which is designed to run on public clouds versus our first-party data centers, which are run by Salesforce. And the key motivation behind it, as Leanne, you can relate to, there is increasing data residency requirements, right? In EU, we have GDPR. Even at the state levels in California, we have data privacy and residency requirements. So to meet those security compliance, Salesforce has decided to go with Hyperforce, which allows us to be data compliant, data residence, as well as it allows us to scale much better, both in terms of our region expansion worldwide, because we are growing at a tremendous rate. And second, the scaling of the underlying infrastructure resources itself. So that gives us a huge advantage to move all our customers from our first-party data centers to Hyperforce.
And what's the role of admins if these orgs, maybe especially those admins that are in EU, that are in California, that are in other states that are looking at similar data privacy movement? What's the role of admins in shifting to Hyperforce?
Yeah, another good question. So admins, what I call, are basically the stars of this show, because admins administer the Salesforce orgs, and our key persona for Hyperforce Assistant, which is basically a lot of admins who are watching this episode, I believe they have been involved in the past with Lightning Transition Assistant, with MFA, multi-factor authentication. So admins play a key role in Hyperforce as well in this upgrade journey from first party to Hyperforce. Admins will basically make sure that the customers' orgs are ready for that upgrade, because if the opposite is true, if the admins are unaware or if they don't know what to do, the org might end up in Hyperforce and it might not work as designed, causing business disruption, which we don't want.
Mm-hmm. So our customer orgs are on this roadmap to go to Hyperforce, and admins are responsible and really in the driver's seat of ensuring that those orgs are ready to get there.
Exactly, and we'll talk about the specifics as we dive into the demo of Hyperforce Assistant. Some of the 5 key steps which the admins need to do specifically to prepare the org for a successful upgrade. So far, our communications has been mostly through emails, but the success rate of our emails is not very good. And that's where we are really going with Hyperforce Assistant to make sure admin gets in-app notification guidance to make sure that they can take right actions at the right time to make this upgrade successful.
Right. And so you mentioned that this is similar, those admins who did bring their orgs to Lightning, for example, those kind of in-app readiness reporting and guided tooling to make sure that admins are checking every single box that they should be on this path to Hyperforce.
Correct. Yes.
So let's talk a little more about what that journey looks like for admins. Where should admins be getting started on, if this is maybe the first time they've heard about Hyperforce or it's relatively new for them, what's step 1 for admins that are getting started with this process?
So let me start off by actually logging into our test org, and I will zoom in a little bit more so there is better clarity on the picture. And if you see my screen, I am going to take on the persona of an admin. I'm going to assume I'm an admin. So I logged into my org, and I get a notification. Now, for clarity purposes, this notification, the admins will get this notification for the orgs which are, number 1, both eligible as well as scheduled for an upcoming upgrade. So, which is Hyperforce is a multi-year program. We actually upgraded thousands of our customers this year, and it's a multi-year program. So once your org is eligible for upgrade, you get a notification on the screen telling you to upgrade to Hyperforce. So from here, as an admin, I can click on Go to Assistant, and it will take me to the assistant. Now I can pretty much also ignore this notification and come back to the app later, because Hyperforce Assistant is available under the setup menu, similar to the other assistants which have been in the past. So, and let me show you how to go there from the setup menu. So like I said before, under the setup menu, Hyperforce Assistant is located right under the multi-factor authentication assistant. So I click on Hyperforce Assistant, and it takes me to the home page of, or you can call it the landing page of Hyperforce Assistant. There are 4 key steps to the upgrade journey. The first step is the learn part. Second is prepare. Third is upgrade, and 4th is manage. For the 240 release, which we just released in November this year, we have released the learn and prepare phases. In the learn phase, like it's very obvious, if I click here, as an admin, I can learn, for example, what is Hyperforce, right? If I want to click on the FAQ, I can go straight from here. And then very importantly, I think a lot of folks at Dreamforce were asking us about what are the benefits, right? Why Salesforce is doing that. So that goes back to what are the key advantages of Hyperforce are, right? So I can read all about that, read a customer testimonial. And once I have done some basic understanding of Hyperforce, I can start preparing. And this is, Leanne, where I think our admin community will gain a lot of advantage by having basically a single stop shop to prepare for the upgrade. So let's talk about some of the key features which are available under the prepare phase. So if you're an admin and you have worked on Lightning Transition Assistant, this probably looks familiar because we also had hard-coded references check available in Lightning Transition Assistant. In this context, we are looking for hard-coded references, which, for example, could have mentions of N825 or EU4 or CS10 in case of orgs, right? So because on Hyperforce, it's on public clouds, we're not going to have these references work anymore. So that's where admins can simply come here. They allow access to the Salesforce optimizer. And from here, they can run a hard-coded reference check. In this release, we are basically, once the admin clicks the verify button, we are basically going to do a background check on all the classes available to list where the hard-coded references are present. And that's very important, right? Because a customer might have, let's say, 1,000 classes, right? How do you find? It's like finding a needle in the haystack, right? So this check really helps in identifying where those references exist, and then the admins can go and take care of those. Second, one of the key feedback we have been getting from customers who have upgraded to Hyperforce, as well as the admins, is before upgrade to Hyperforce, can I check connectivity to the new instance, which is now provisioned on Hyperforce, if it works? Because that's a huge confidence booster, right? Because if I'm an admin and I can check that, look, from my environment, I can ping the new instance, that's great. So we provide that right within this product where they can check that connectivity instance. Third is enable enhanced domains. This is another check where they can verify if they have enabled enhanced domains or not. And that's important because of two key reasons. Number one is enhanced domains are going to be mandatory starting with the spring of FY24. That's to meet the browser security mandates. Second, very importantly, once the org is on Hyperforce, we need all the inbound API calls to be prefixed with service name interface. And that's a lot of work. But if enhanced domains are enabled, the admins don't have to do that. So that solves for that challenge as well. And then number four, each of this step is very, very important, right? So four is allowing the required domain. And that's because on Hyperforce, Salesforce no longer supports IP allow lists. So a lot of our customers, to secure connection from the customer premises to Salesforce org to ensure that the traffic is coming from a trusted endpoint, IP allow lists are used by the customers to do that. But now on the public cloud, because the network resources are ephemeral, that means the IP addresses changes, right? So if you have an IP address, IP allow list defined, it will break connectivity. So that's where we are recommending our admins to stop using IP allow list, instead allow the required domains. And in this step, the admin can click on this link and find out which required domains to allow. So that's very, very important. In fact, in the next release on our roadmap for FY24, we also want to check if an org does indeed have IP allow list enabled, because that will, similar to the hard-coded references, that can inform them that they need to take an action. Number five, ensure that the admins can receive emails from Salesforce. So again, goes back to the simple connectivity integration requirements, because the network layer on the public cloud is different than Salesforce first-party data center. There are changes which needs to happen at the IP domain level, and we provide the recommendation best practice on how to make sure that they can still receive email. And lastly, if there is a marketing cloud endpoints present in the org, we specify two key step-by-step instructions to complete so that there is no disruption in the connectivity. So those, Leanne, are the 6 key areas which the product covers. Like I said before, in FY24, our roadmap is actually to enhance these further so that there is more automation and less of a guesswork required by the admin, what to do what.
I think this is great. This provides a really great overview for admins who are building and who are owning orgs on where they should start getting ready. I see, especially around IP ranges and hard-coded URLs, those are areas where admins, depending on where Hyperforce is on your roadmap, you might want to start keeping an eye on those today, potentially, right? Is that what I'm hearing, Samuel?
Yes, absolutely. And you hit the nail right on the head by mentioning the two key ones, right, which we are finding, because part of our product team is interfacing very closely with our support team, because we want to identify what are some of the top issues that admins are facing as part of the post upgrade. And these are the two issues we mentioned, which they need to take care of: hardcode references and IP allow list. Those are pretty much at the top, and hopefully they'll find a lot of value here to resolve these.
How can admins learn when their org will be updated to Hyperforce?
Yeah, that's a good question. So if we go back to the homepage of Hyperforce Assistant, like I mentioned before, we have a third tab which will be enabled with this upcoming spring release, which I'm very excited about. In the upgrade tab, we will provide the exact date as well as the region where the new org will be available. So let's assume, Leanne, you are an admin for ABC org, and you come to the upgrade tab. We'll show you, Leanne, your upgrade is scheduled, let's say, for April 20th to North America region. So that information will be available to you. Right now, that information is basically being communicated via email.
So this is really helpful. I love seeing the Hyperforce Assistant. I think all of our admins today should have access to the Hyperforce Assistant, right? To get started on that learn in the prepare section.
One caveat is the admins who will have access are the ones who are whose orgs are basically eligible for the upgrade. So right now the product is what we're calling the limited general availability, because we still have around 10% of our global orgs who are not contractually eligible for upgrade to Hyperforce. So that's why we are not making it fully eligible, because we don't want to confuse our admins who get this notification and they get excited, right? They read the benefits and they're excited, but then they find out like, hey, we are still not contractually eligible. So that's where we are upgrading for, making the product available for all the orgs which are deemed eligible. And so that's the only caveat, which is majority of our orgs are eligible. There's only a small subset.
Mm-hmm. Well, this is really helpful. I love this walkthrough. I'm so glad that this tool exists to help our admins get started getting ready for Hyperforce. So, your big piece of advice for all the admins that are watching this, what is the first thing you want everyone to do when they get off of this video to get ready for Hyperforce?
Yeah, that's a great call out, Leanne. So I'll use a phrase which I love, which is proper planning prevents poor performance, what I call the 5 Ps. And I think admin will love that, because they're used to be preparing well, right? So a big part of a successful upgrade is proper planning, and proper planning begins with Hyperforce Assistant going to the product, making sure that they are taking care of all the steps we mentioned under the prepare phase, so they are well prepared. So that would be my key call to action would be that don't wait till last minute, because like we discussed the scenario, right? You might have to take care of hundreds of classes where hardcode references might be, right? Or you might have to work with your security team around what to do with the IP allow list. So if you act early, the chances of really good success would be great.
So Hyperforce is coming. All of our customers are going to be moving to Hyperforce eventually. The best thing that Salesforce admins can do is jump into this Hyperforce Assistant, go through these learn and prepare steps, understand where there might need to be some additional work or preparation for your org to get ready for Hyperforce, so you're prepared, so you're ready.
Exactly. And then if you're an admin and you don't see assistant under your org, you can always work with your account team and request for the product. We are working with our CSG team to ensure that based on the contractual eligibility, we have the product available, and they are providing us updated lists regularly. But if you're an admin and you would like to have the product, please work with your account team to request one, and we'll be more than happy to enable it for you.
Thank you so much for this demo and for this overview of Hyperforce and Hyperforce Assistant.
Of course, it was my pleasure.
All right, Salesforce admins, that was an awesome demo of the new Hyperforce Assistant, along with some sneak peeks into cool things coming in spring 23 to Hyperforce Assistant. I hope you are all ready to start running your Hyperforce readiness reports, taking a good look at that hard-coded URLs and IP ranges, and getting your orgs ready for Hyperforce. Thanks for joining us for today's Expert Corner. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you never miss a video like this, and visit us on admin.salesforce.com for more videos, podcasts, and blogs built especially for you, Salesforce admins. I'll see you next time.